everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be sitting down and explaining as much as I can, or as well as I can, what happened with my embryo transfer, why it didn't go to plan, what the doctor said the day after the transfer, and I'm going to also answer some questions that you guys have about that day in the middle to the end of this video. And I want to start this video off by thanking you guys so much. I am blown away by the amount of messages and how sweet you guys were during this nightmare of a weekend. My transfer was supposed to be September 23rd, and obviously you guys know, or if you don't know and you're just stumbling across this video, it did not go to plan, and it was just really not a great time. If you guys have not seen that video, I'll link it here so you can go check that out before you watch this one. That way this one makes sense. You guys have been tremendous. Larry, my family, everybody has been so sweet. So I want to give you all hugs and thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna try and do my best through this video to keep things organized and together, but to be honest, my brain is not organized. It is not together. It's very scattered and I feel panicky. That's just an honest feeling of how I feel. So I'm gonna do my best. Let's start with the next morning. So as I said, my embryo transfer was Thursday, September 23rd. And then Friday morning, I got a call from my nurse first thing in the morning. And she said, "How are you? Are you feeling okay? What happened?" And then I started crying because I was so emotional. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about that night when I went to bed. Let's rewind to the night. I just kept replaying it over and over and over and over in my head. It was the most traumatic experience, and I just kept playing the whole thing over again. And then I would fall asleep, and then I would wake up, and it was like that reoccurring nightmare. It was like, oh, we're back to reality. That's right, I didn't have my transfer. And I don't want that to sound like I'm just crying and complaining. Like, that's honestly how it is. You know, when you're going through something in life that's difficult and you go to sleep and it's like an escape from that, and then when you wake up it slaps you back in the face and reality hits you again and you're right back to where you were, and it's like, oh yeah, that actually happened. That's how I feel. It's not fun, and I've been struggling with it since it happened. It's Monday as I'm filming this, so it's only been a few days. I'm still dealing and still recovering from the experience. So with that, I was still really emotionally upset, and the doctor who did my procedure that day is not my normal doctor. I don't normally see him. However, my normal doctor, I've only seen once in the clinic. So I don't normally see him either, but he knows my body better. This is what he told me when we talked on the phone. He knows me, he knows my body, whereas this doctor does not know me. I don't know. It was something that was said. I didn't even think about that at the time. I'm just thinking a doctor is a doctor, and here we are. Basically, let's go back. I received the phone call from my nurse, made me very emotional, and then I was finally able to like express and talk about it and get it out. And she said, "Mindy, in my entire career, I've never had this happen to any of my patients, and I am so sorry that it happened to you." So she just told me to stop taking the progesterone, which I already knew, and that she was sending the period start medication to my pharmacy. She gave me my new schedule for my next embryo transfer. Now, I have to be on birth control until October 28th. My period started today, by the way. I told you guys I was going to let you guys know when that happened. So I've had spotting, and then it started today, which means I'll start my birth control tomorrow, and then I'll take that until October 28th. If all goes well, I would have my embryo transfer at the end of November, but those dates can change, and there's other things that the clinic and myself are looking into, as well as to what was the obstruction, what happened, which is what I'm talking to my nurse about currently today. But before we get to that stage, let's rewind. Hang up the phone with my nurse. All is well. Larry runs to the CVS, or Walgreens, picks up my period start medication, and I take it. Then my doctor calls me. And again, he said, in my 10 years of IVF, I have never had this happen to any of my patients. And it's really frustrating to hear, because it's like, you can't help but think, why? Like, why did this freaking happen? It is so infuriating and frustrating and upsetting, honestly. He was like, I've never seen it happen. He's like, what happened that day? And I said, well, I don't know if you've talked to him. He's like, oh, I talked to him. I saw the report on my desk in the morning, and then I called him because I just, you know, they talked it through. So he says they talk about it. There was an obstruction. The doctor didn't know what it was, and he just couldn't get to my uterus. For whatever reason, he wasn't sure if he was there. He couldn't see it. So basically, let's move forward. Dr. Amudia was like, I know your body best. I'm going to be the one that does your mock embryo transfer, which is the test run, which I did have a test run for my first embryo transfer. Everything went smooth. Everything went perfect. There were no issues. It was 10 minutes in and out, done, no pain, just a little jolt of a shock, but no pain. I was not crying. I was not upset. I walked out and life was great. So that was another thing that my nurse had said to me too, was she was like, your mock transfer, which is the trial run, the practice run, she's like, was literally a month to the day and it was perfect. It went flawless. And I said, I know, that's why I don't understand. Anyways, moving forward, my regular doctor wants to do my mock transfer. And he said, if we run into any problems, we'll figure out what we need to do, but I really do not want to put you under anesthesia. And I was like, I respect that. But at the same time, it's like, after the living HELL that I went through, I cannot imagine going through it again. I think he wants to go in, try for himself and see if he can get the embryo in without the issue that I had last time. And I said, I'm okay, I will agree to that. Like, but my concern is, if you do my mock embryo transfer and it's perfectly fine, what's to say that the actual day is not going to turn into chaos? Because that's exactly what happened last time. So you have that doubt, you have that concern, you have that worry. And I'm like, and he kind of like, he was like, I know, I understand. So they have agreed, he has agreed to give me Valium. So if my mock transfer goes perfect and I go in for my embryo transfer day, I am going to be under Valium this time. Last time I wasn't. I was not under anything. I also don't want to be under anesthesia, guys. I really don't. But at the same time, it's like, I can't imagine going through that ever again. I do not ever want to do that again. And I hope to God it never happens to anybody else again. I'm glad I am the rare case that it happened to. But again, I also don't want this story to scare you, this situation to scare you. Again, what happened to me, I guess, has never happened to my doctor and my nurse. Okay, so I'm talking to my nurse currently. She sent me a message today. I said, hey, I've had some time to think. I'm kind of concerned. Do we know what the obstruction was? Like, why couldn't we reach it? You know, as days go by, you start thinking more and more and more, and you go through these stages of being like irritated and then angry and then like upset, and then it's like, okay, it's fine. We're just gonna move forward and focus on what's next. I'm all over the board, and it literally depends on the moment. I kid you not. You know, I said, could it be endometriosis? Could there be something going on that we missed as to why it wouldn't work, why we couldn't reach the uterus? And she said, until last week, we had no reason to think there was anything to be concerned with. Endometriosis is found via ultrasound and is typically accompanied with pain. However, this is something that you and your doctor can discuss when we bring you in for the mock embryo transfer. So I said, I don't want to, and I respect that, but at the same time, I don't want to wait and go under all this medication again, get to my mock transfer, and then them say, oh, there's something wrong here. You might have an issue. I don't want to wait till then. I want to find out now, which is kind of like what I'm asking. Oh, I'm so scattered. Anyways, I just want to find out if I have endometriosis or if I have an issue that is going missed. Everything appeared to be normal, but obviously something wasn't normal. I don't understand though how my IUIs went perfectly well, my mock transfer went perfectly well, and then the day of the transfer was an absolute darn nightmare. I don't want to go through it again and get to the point of being so happy and so excited and then being let down. So anyways, end of November, guys. It seems like a long time away, but my doctor, the other thing that he did tell me, he's like, I'm almost extremely thankful that the embryo wasn't transferred at the end at that point. And I did agree, because the amount of stress and upset that I had, I don't think, and he told me, he said, that would not have been good for you or the embryo. I couldn't imagine walking out and being happy and celebrating with Larry after that had happened. It was way too far past what we should have gone. Think that we shouldn't have gone to the point that we had gone to, but again, we're just gonna move forward. And now I'm gonna answer you guys' questions about that day as best as I can. Okay, so the first question is your embryo okay? First and foremost, yes, embryo is okay. As far as I know, they didn't call me and say that anything happened to the embryo when it was froze again. However, there is a risk with thawing the embryo. There is a chance that the embryo will not survive the thaw. So as of now, yes, the embryo is okay. And that makes me so, so happy. But I'm also very terrified that it's going to be like how it's going to do when it gets thawed again. They did reassure me that it's safe, it's great, like, you know, but now I have worry. How are you doing emotionally? You have been through so much. This has got to be hard for you. Yeah, so definitely difficult. How am I doing emotionally? Like I kind of said, ups and downs, but I usually am a very positive person. Sometimes, some days, guys, it honestly just doesn't feel like it really happened. Disheartening, it's disbelief, it's frustration. Part of me didn't want to film today, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything today. I did go to Lowe's with Larry today, and they had Christmas and pumpkins out, and it made me so happy. I feel sad, honestly. I'm like very borderline. I was telling my mom and dad about it. I was like, I don't want to throw the term, I don't use the term lightly. I'm not depressed in a state where I need help, but I feel angry and sad. That is how I feel. But I'm also trying to remain positive, focus on the future, and kind of like turn what happened around. Like, you can't change it. I can't go back and change it. I can't go back and make that day perfect. For some reason, at that time, my body wasn't working or the doctor wasn't working. There was something that was going on that was not working. So I just need to remember that, move forward, and attack the next task. Like, tackle, you know, what's going on in the future. It's a healing journey that I am working on. Guys, this sun is going in and out so bad. There we go. What's been the hardest part mentally about the IVF journey? Love you guys. We love you too. The hardest part mentally is thinking you're there and then you're not. I think it's just the extreme highs with the extreme lows are mentally very difficult to deal with. How do you literally go into a embryo transfer thinking that you're going to start your journey with your freaking embryo that day? You guys are going to be together and then you're not. Like, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So it's frustrating. And I think that's the hardest part. And if I would give you guys any advice is to, you know, do your best to stay positive, but try your best not to have your expectations at 100. Try to, and I know it's hard and it's great to be excited. I'm a very excited person. I always really get excited. I always think the best is going to happen and it's going to be great. But just try to remember that sometimes, unfortunately, things don't work out, but in due time, we will get there. We'll keep each other going. It's a circle here. Did they test for endometriosis before you started the IUI and IVF journey? So as my nurse had said, you usually see endometriosis on the ultrasound screen, but that wasn't the case for my mom. My mom had endometriosis and adenomyosis and had to have a complete hysterectomy at 28, I believe, which is concerning. So there is something that runs in the family, in the genes. All of my mom's tests came back normal until they did a laparoscopic surgery and found chaos, that everything, all of her organs had fused together and she had to have the complete hysterectomy. So that does concern me. Like, what if? So there are concerns, which is why I'm reaching out to my doctor. And another tip of advice is be your own advocate. You have to speak up for yourself. If you think something is wrong or you're concerned about something, definitely talk to your doctor. You know, there's some times where things get missed. You know, your medical team wants the best for you. They want everything to work out. But if you have a concern about something, definitely advocate for yourself. Speak up. That's what I'm trying to do now. I really liked this question. What joy did you find in the day? I always ask myself this question in hard times. So on that day, on the nightmarish day, if I could pick out the positive things, it would be the thought of how close I was to that embryo. I was in the room and my embryo was literally just on the other side of a door in a little incubator. And that was a huge plus. The other plus was just getting the heck out of there and seeing Larry, even though it was so sad. Just surviving it, walking out the door, and I don't know, it's a learning experience, really. The whole thing was definitely an experience of strength, too, to know how strong I am physically and mentally. So those, I think, would be the positives. Do they give you an option to have anesthesia during procedure, or is it not typically needed? So yeah, no, the procedure is not invasive. It's normally not needed at all. I don't know if that differs on clinics, but it's so how the process works, there was a couple of questions of what it entails. So they insert a speculum, and then there's little screws that go in it, and it kind of holds that in place. Then they'll go in and they wipe. Think of what are they called when we go to the OBGYN? I forget what they're called. You guys will know. I don't know why I'm blanking. Probably because I have a lot on my mind that I'm trying to get out in this video. They clean your cervix and then they put a catheter through, and they run a catheter, which is about this long. They feed that catheter through and they look with an ultrasound on your abdomen and they watch that catheter go through and they try to feed it up into the uterus. That's the process. And it's uncomfortable because it's awkward, but it's not supposed to be painful. And my mock and my IUI procedures were not painful. Mildly uncomfortable, not painful. Anesthesia is not required because it's very mild. Well, it's supposed to be. I have seen other clinics give people like Valium to relax them. I saw that on YouTube. Like I saw a girl that was under Valium, but I requested that after this had happened. I'm like, I would like some of that, please. If you're not gonna knock me out like the other doctor wanted to. The other doctor wanted to knock me out and have 2 doctors in the room. And my normal doctor is like, I want to see what's going on first before we knock you out and before we have 2 doctors in a room. I want to see it for myself. And I'm like, okay. So it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Are you nervous this time around or are you excited? Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm disappointed, to be honest. On that day, I'm going to be freaking out. And normally I'm calm and like, let's go. You guys know how I am. I'm normally very, I don't know, look at the bright side, look at the positives. I'm going to bring you guys down a little bit. And now I'm like, hopefully the Valium will help with that. You experience lots of mood swings through all of this. Larry can help answer. So I have been quite level-headed and very positive through taking all these hormones, guys. It's wild. Like, you're putting your body through so much stress. It's insane. I think I've handled it well. I'm upset now, but understandably. I mean, I'm so disappointed. October 4th, I was supposed to have my blood pregnancy test, so I'm already upset about October 4th coming around. Like, I don't even want to think about it. And my birthday, October 8th, I was totally thinking, I'm gonna be pregnant on my 30th birthday. It's gonna be great. So, like, now I'm kind of having, like, mood issues where I'm like, this sucks. But I'm, again, trying to stay positive. But let's get Larry in here and see how he thinks I've been handling the mood swings. And I also want him to answer how he's doing during this, because it doesn't just affect me. It affects him. It affects my family. It affects everybody. Like, it's so stressful when you think you're almost there and then this happens. So let me grab Larry. First of all, how are you? Like, how are you handling everything, truthfully? As the husband perspective or the partner perspective.
I think I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas.
Yeah.
Honestly. You just, you have all the dreams in your head of how you want it to go and what you're going to do. And, you know, I don't want to rush time or anything, but when you have a little one that's 2-3 years old and you're going to the zoo or you're going to the park or you're going to the waterfront or going wherever, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what I'm focused on, and learning and introducing books and just trying to pass along my love of history.
Larry's going way ahead.
So,
I'm stuck on the disappointment. Larry's like, we're going to the zoo.
well, that's kind of why I'm disappointed that, you know, and I don't want to rush things, but that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm upset that you're upset.
That's okay, dear. Thank you. The other question somebody had for us was, we'll get back to the other question, but I don't want to forget this one, was, did the clinic let me call Larry? Larry's not allowed in, but when I had my break, did they let me call him? Yes, I did have that option. I chose not to because I couldn't speak to anybody without bawling my eyes out. They gave me a cupcake and I started bawling my eyes out. And I was like, if I call Larry and he sees me this way, he is going to be worried in the car. And it's a good thing I didn't call him because they tried to work on me for an hour and a half after my 20-minute break. If I would have called him and been crying and sobbing like that and an hour and a half went by, I don't see this man sitting in the car patiently waiting for me. He'd be wigging out, and I did not want to do that to him. I'm also, in a weird way, glad that he didn't have to be in the room with me to see that. I wouldn't want my mom to see it. I wouldn't want anybody to be in there to see what had happened. I wish I wasn't awake to see what had happened. And then the other question was, how's my mood swings been through all this? Maybe through the journey and through like maybe just this experience. Yeah, maybe. Do you experience less of mood swings?
I wouldn't say mood swings. I would say emotional swings, which is completely understandable. You just watch her last video. We were both in this room filming, and she was so happy. And then, three and a half hours later, she's in the car, she's in pain, and she's crying, and we're not any closer to where we were. So that was frustrating. Mood swings, I wouldn't say. You were a little aggressive driving today, but...
I'm always aggressive.
No, that was...
I was? When was I aggressive?
On the way there.
I was?
The traffic was a little bit slow, and you were...
Oh, please.
I can't believe they're doing this to me today.
I did say that.
Yes, you did.
I wanted to go out at like 7 a.m. this morning when there was no people in the world out. I just feel like I can't deal with like anything or anyone at the moment. That's kind of how I also feel. But I'm great. No, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm great. Everything's awesome. I'm trying to, I told them we went to Lowe's today. We saw the Christmas stuff and the Halloween stuff, and that made me happy. We went on our walks. I'm just trying to fill our time with like happy, keeping my mind off of things. Because like I said, I can't go back and change it. We can't change what had happened. We just have to move forward.
And we are taking everyone's advice, and we're not giving up.
Yeah. Somebody also asked, another question was, could they give you anything for the pain that you were enduring? So the other reason is, why didn't they put me asleep when they realized this was happening? My guess is they didn't have an anesthesiologist there. When they had me take my break, they gave me water and my cupcake, asked if I could have anything else. I said a Xanax would be great. And she's like, I wish I had one to give you. And I'm like, great. So that was my cue. That was like me cracking a joke, but also asking. And that was her being like, wish I had one to give, but no such luck. So that was that. This next question was, the only reason they stopped because you were in pain? No, because we went through 2.5 hours of me being in pain, and he didn't stop in that first hour. The reason that we stopped is because he couldn't reach my uterus and he got 5 centimeters deep, I think, or 5 millimeters. I don't know what the measurement was, 5 something deep. But he wasn't sure if he was in my uterus. He wasn't sure if he was in the right place because he couldn't see my uterus and there was an obstruction in the way. So he stopped because he couldn't see. And again, I'm still waiting on my nurse to get in contact with me. I left her a few messages and called, but we are waiting to hear back. She's probably in contact with my doctor to see what he thinks, if there's anything further that we should do, or if we should do it sooner, then wait until we get to the mock transfer and then delay even more. So I'll keep you guys updated on that front as those details come in. But I want to end this video with thanking all of you for being super sweet, for all your kind messages towards Larry and I and the family, and it means the world to us. And we'll see you again very soon. Bye!
Bye.